Hi everyone, thank you very much for joining the webinar today. It's Matt here from Kickdynamic. We are going to answer the question, are your emails optimized for conversions? And I'm very happy to be joined here by Luke from SaleCycle. Please introduce yourself.
Hello everyone. So today we're going to be covering a wide range of topics throughout the email world. We're going to start off with the audiences of emails, so going into triggered emails and segmentation. We're going to be looking at email language, so copy strategy, the tone of voice of the language used within the emails, and the length of the copy used. We're going to be looking deeply into call to actions, and we're going to also be looking at social proof and urgency. We're looking at personalization, and as I said, we're going to end with real world case studies.
Excellent. So let's touch briefly actually on the audience from a triggers and segmentation point of view. It's obviously very vital for success within your email marketing to send email at the right time and to the right people, which is what triggers and segmentation are. There are many automated and triggered programs that you can do. You may see some on your screen now that you can take a screenshot from and use within your own business. Stat from MailChimp shows that clicks are 100% higher from segmented campaigns to non-segmented campaigns. And that's really important. What that means is that you are going to get better results within your email when you are sending sending email to a group of people that want to receive the email at the right time.
Yeah, so to start off with the examples of email language, we've got an example here from giffgaff, and the original email was designed all with good intentions, so really actually well written copy, a lot of information about the offers and about giffgaff's USPs in particular, so a little bit of information about the fact that the phones are under £100 and a bit of information even about the engineering of the phone. But giffgaff decided to test this directly and see whether a reduced amount of copy would be more effective. In this particular case, they saw an increase in click rates of more than 14% on the email campaign, which is a really significant amount. As a theme throughout this whole webinar, we do have to mention that this is all test dependent. This is a specific case for giffgaff that has worked for them. I'm not going to say here that less copy is better than more copy, but it is a really interesting case study and a test to use to make sure that the copy you are using is optimized. In this case, they've switched to a copy method that is straight to the point. It tells them about the particular phone they've looked at in that cart abandonment email, goes straight to the point to say it's still in your basket, and gives them a call to action straight after, which has proved to be more effective.
So in the next example of language, it's from Gourmet Burger Kitchen, GBK, who I'm a big fan of personally because I like burgers. But what I really do like is their tone of voice and the language that they use. And they do this in every single email that they send. And this example is actually a launch of a burger that they have every month. They have a special burger called the Prawn Star. And I really like the language that they use within the email. And as you can see, it's quite long. But it keeps me engaged. I'm interested in reading it. I like what's in it, and it makes me want to go into GBK for my lunch.
Yeah, I have to agree. I would say after maybe the second line of copy, your mouth's already watering. It's talking about the ingredients of the burger and all the awesome things they've got to offer, and immediately you want to read the rest of the email. I think that helps to sort of, as we mentioned in the last example, prove that you can have really lengthy, engaging copy.
Yeah, really another good example of language here from Squaw Valley. So Squaw Valley is a ski resort in Northern California around Lake Tahoe. And what we wanted to draw out here is actually the specific use of language associated with the rest of the content. And really what it is, it's the fact that the information that's within this email is real time. It's live, so it updates in the instant every time that you read the email. And because of that, they actually make use of that within the language. So you can see here that the title actually is real-time information. So if you're providing real-time information, or you're providing something that really is a benefit and is going to provide an experience to your recipients, you should absolutely call that out within the language as well. So yeah, they actually moved from when the email was static, they moved from not having that language into now really calling out that real time, and their customers expect it now, their recipients expect it.
Yeah. So to move on to urgency and social proof, and we've got a few great examples here that we're going to run through. The first is the use of live trends within an email, and again, this is another cart abandonment email by Fly Dubai, and they're using a trends figure here to tell immediately the recipient of the email how many other people are looking at this particular flight. Really, really powerful message, especially on a travel client. I'm sure we've all experienced that before, where you're looking to book a flight or a holiday and you've got a concern that the seats are going to run out, or that all the holidays in the world are going to be booked up and you're never going to get one. So by telling people how many others are looking at that, really drives that urgency, and almost, not in a negative way, draws up a little bit of anxiety about I need to get in there really quickly and book this before these many other people do. So really powerful, right at the top of the email as well, so it's right in your face, straight from the get-go, and should hopefully just capture that bit of engagement that will make people read the rest of the content.
So another example here we have is using reviews within email as well, from as a proof point of view. So you can see here that this product has 5 stars for their product. So again, really, if you can bring that into any email, whether it's cart abandonment or otherwise, it's providing support and proof for someone to be able to click through, be interested in the product, and go through and buy that. So it's a really good technique to add that proof in, to optimize your conversions.
Another example we have is progress bars, and again, this is another example from cart abandonment email, but I have to stress these can be used as a feature in any kind of email. Kickdynamic use these very well with their platform and their emails, and it really is another way to drum up a bit more urgency and to let people know where they're at in terms of the purchase. In this case, for Converse, they've used a progress bar which tells somebody how far away they are from the free delivery threshold, in this case €65. So it's letting the consumer know that they only have to spend €9.51 more to qualify for that free delivery. So it is a message that should drill a bit of urgency in, but also push the AOV of the orders up by getting them over that threshold, and just letting them know how close they are to actually getting that. I'm sure a lot of people will feel that way, especially with fashion purchases, where if it was just for that little bit of free delivery and not a $3.99 cost, they would be over the line. So it helps reinforce that.
Yeah, we really like progress bars. I'm a big fan. I like the different uses that you can have for them. So this case is to show how far away they are from kind of qualifying for free delivery, but it's that visual representation of that. So we've seen it to show how far away from when you're collecting loyalty points, how far you are away from the next tier. So whether you're going kind of from a silver or to a gold kind of loyalty status. We've also seen it from charities, where the progress bars show how far away you are from hitting your fundraising goal if you're doing some fundraising. So there's lots of different examples from that, from using progress bars. My personal opinion of why I like them so much is it's the visual side of it, not being having to read words. You can see it immediately in there and go, okay, cool, that's where I am.
Yeah, it's really striking, and in this particular example, you almost feel compelled to complete whatever you're short on. It's like a little accomplishment to get that van to the end of the line.
And another good example of this actually is the Lingus countdown timer as well. So it's this is a timer that ticks down in the inbox to how long you have left before your online check-in closes for your flight. So it's another visual representation on them wanting you to do something and get you checked in for your flight, so you're all set up so you don't have to do it at the airport. So really good use of a countdown timer, and again a really good way of getting someone to take that action because it's visual there as well. Great. So the next example we have is from a social proof point of view. So this is a really good example from Net-a-Porter, which is a high-end fashion retailer, and what they're actually doing is they're pulling into the email live the latest Instagram images from their Instagram account associated with New York Fashion Week. So the Instagram images are actually only those that have hashtag New York Fashion Week, and they're coming in live. So every time this email is read, it updates with the latest from New York Fashion Week. So it's a really live, a really good version of, and a really timely version for them. And they do the same for all of the fashion weeks across the world. So it's relevant information based on that, and they'll target it to which country you're in. And it's also live information, again, getting everyone involved in what's a really important time for high-end fashion retailers.
Yeah, so on to the next section of the webinar now, and this is going to be all about call to actions, or CTAs, and we're going to go into call to action strategy, the length of the call to actions, and some other usage examples that we've got. First of which is JHD, and really interesting example of call to action testing in a real world environment. So JHD originally had an email with a call to action on that just said continue shopping on their cart abandonment email, and totally off the cuff decided to run a test to try some different wording. In this case, they switched it to return to basket and saw some really interesting and amazing results in that the click rates went up by 56% in this case. Again, I think this is going to be a theme throughout the whole webinar, in that you really have to test these things for your unique campaigns, and I would never preach to anybody that the examples we're going to show here will work for every case. But yeah, in this case they had quite a soft call to action, continue shopping, and switched up the word to be return to basket, which is stronger in terms of its execution and tells the person exactly where they're going to be going. You might perceive continue shopping as being a little bit vague and taking them either perhaps to a home page or another currently unknown page on the website, whereas return to basket will tell them exactly where they're going to go and back to a basket that they know they have recently created. So the customer could feel like they're reducing the steps to complete that purchase that they've been looking at.
Yeah, really like that example. I think something that could be overlooked from a testing point of view with many of us is that language in a call to action. So even just that small change has such a significant increase. It's really important to remember to be able to do that. Yeah. Okay, another really good example here is from New Look, and this is where they are adapting the call to action depending on whether someone is opening on a desktop or a mobile device, and changing the language based on that. So if you open on a mobile device, you'll have tap to shop, and if you open on your desktop or your laptop, you'll have shop the collection. And that is really important language change, especially for someone like New Look in their brand, is that they have a huge percentage of their opens on a mobile device, but they're a little bit maybe, and this happens a lot, still thinking about email on a desktop. You should think about email on a mobile, and the language for that makes a big difference. We're actually, brands that we're seeing adapt the language like this, we're seeing a 50% increase in clicks for those that are opening on a mobile device. So it can have a real significant impact.
Yeah, I think that could be a whole webinar in itself, really, but we get asked tons and tons of questions about desktop and mobile and how to cater an email towards that. I would say in some cases these days it can be over 60% of opens are on mobile. Yeah. And in New Look's particular case, given who their demographic is, a younger audience, that is likely to be even more. So to actually go desktop first in terms of your content and design is quite naive, really, when 60% or plus of your opens could be on a mobile device.
Yeah, exactly.
So another really interesting example of call to action usage here is by Pronovias, and they've gone for something that's really different in terms of their strategy, and in this case the call to actions are actually going to take you to the size of the shorts that you're selecting in their email, and I absolutely love this. I think as a consumer myself, there are tons and tons of times where you'll get an email from a fashion client or be on a fashion website and they won't have your size, and you've spent an awful lot of time looking through a website just to be disappointed by the fact it's not there. So to me this is really appealing, in that the email can take you straight to that bit of content you're looking for and you get that immediate answer. Hopefully the shorts are in my size and I get 25% off and I get to use their lovely voucher code. But I just personally think this is a really engaging way to use a call to action in a different way.
It is. It's really engaging because you're able to immediately go through to your size, as you said, It's also different, so it would actually stand out a little bit compared to email potentially from other brands that would be similar to Pronovias. The other really great thing I like about it, thinking from my email strategy point of view, is if you've clicked on 32, that is now something that could be used for retargeting. So that's been, that's now data that's available to use to then follow up to do further personalization. So overall, that's a really, really great strategy for follow-up trigger email.
Yeah, really great. I mean, there's so much to talk about on this one. I think we could go on for a long time, but yeah, another reason I think it's so great as well is just from a user experience and a selling perspective, you're taking steps out of that customer journey. Within a very short amount of time, the customer could receive this email. They've got in big bold text, you've got 25% off and a voucher code. The next thing they know, they're on a shorts page in their size, and the next thing you know, they're at the checkout. Yeah. And their shorts are on the way. So really, really quick, and should be really effective, I would think.
So moving on to personalization. Show first example here from Jet2. They are targeting us here based on our nearest airport. I say our nearest airport, I mean Luke's nearest airport, not mine because I live in London. But you see the idea here of flying from Newcastle. These are deals that are relevant to the nearest airport, and that's really important from a personalization point of view, obviously to try and optimize your conversions there.
Yeah, I'm personally a huge fan of a lot of the Jet2 emails that they send out. This is just one of many that I get in the inbox that are really engaging. So if you haven't shopped with them before, then I recommend you do, just to get their emails. That's what I did. Yeah, but they've got other great examples. So I recently visited Rome, and a year after that I received an email asking if I was missing that location, and gave me some information around the rest of Italy, which was really, really engaging, and it did make me miss Rome. So immediately as soon as I opened that, I was thinking this is really well done, and definitely had me considering other options from there. And yeah, as you say, just in this case, knowing the exact deals that are available at an airport near me kind of makes you just want to get up and go, especially when the prices are as low as they are in that email. Yeah, so another good example is this one from Virgin Holidays, and this is their cart abandonment email, and lots and lots to talk about throughout this one, but mainly, as you'll see from the example, really striking in terms of giving you a personalized image and personalized copy relating to the holiday you've been looking at. In this case, Disneyland, Florida. Something else that's really important that we haven't actually touched on in the webinar so far is just how the actual style of the email is important. In this case for Virgin, it matches exactly to the other emails that they send. It matches the branding on their website, and it has the exact same feel. Now this is really important for a range of reasons, one of which is just email unfortunately has a reputation of being untrustworthy at times and a little bit insecure. So it's so important to match this to something people feel familiar with, just so that they feel safe, so that the links that they're clicking are safe and not a phishing scam, or that it's not a spammer who's sending this. It all just has to tie in really well and look professional. Especially when
it's a big family purchase, like going to Disneyland. So you know you're going to have done a lot of research. You're going to be spending a lot of money. So the styling and how it fits into the brand needs to make you feel comfortable. So it's very important. And the final example that we wanted to display from a personalization point of view is in a completely different sector from travel here. We're now into retail. And what's really important about this particular example that we wanted to get across is the level of personalization of the products in this email that are being displayed. So this is product recommendations in email based on your previous purchase and browse behavior. So if you're looking to really optimize your email to really get them to convert, where possible you should be displaying one-to-one product recommendations like the example here from Dustin. Now what's really great about this is each of the product images that are in here are all changing again at the time of open, but also the offer, the call out, the discounts are all updating depending on what changes within their merchandising, what changes within their business. It's also automated, so it does go out twice a week without any intervention and is a really powerful email for them.
Yeah, I think that last point was really key, and we haven't actually touched on this throughout the webinar either, is that automation. This whole webinar is in areas quite complex and a bit in depth in terms of how you can optimize certain areas, but as you say, it can be automated. This can be done effortlessly once it's been set up going forward, and in cases like this, really. So moving on to the final part of the webinar now, and as we promised, these are a couple of case studies that we've got which are basically going to incorporate everything that we've talked about so far in a real world example, and should hopefully help us serve to give you some ideas on how you can take an email that you currently have or are currently thinking about or creating, and add on all these things we've learned in to actually optimize it into something that performs a little bit better. The first example that we've got is from MCQ, and we've recently at SaleCycle given them an optimization plan and looked at how their old template, which is a couple of years old now, can be optimized into something new, and incorporating all of the practices that we talked about so far, as well as data insights on things that we've learned from the campaign so far, and a variety of other things. So you can see that in their example before, and not to say it's bad or there's anything particularly wrong with it, but we wanted to look at ways to improve it. It's a few years old, things change very quickly, the branding changes, and we needed to find some room for improvement. So we looked at it, and the first thing that we actually thought seemed fairly obvious was the fact they didn't have a clear call to action at the top of the email. And if you've been listening to the rest of the webinar, you'll know it's absolutely pivotal. You've got to have that in there. So we added that straight in, and the clicks and the effectiveness of the campaign went up enormously. What we identified as well, and this was a new thing on the MCQ website, was that they had a new USP, which was free pickup for returns within 14 days of delivery. And with MCQ being high fashion, it makes total sense to get that in there as early as possible. The fact that you are sort of free to return it when you wish will get people to purchase. So we added that into the copy. We looked in the basket in particular to look into how many items were in the basket on average, and with MCQ being high fashion, that actually ended up being at about 1.4 items per abandoned basket, which meant on average there was about 1 or 2 items in the email. And if you can look at the before email, it didn't really accommodate itself to big singular items, 1 or 2 items in the basket. It was designed for multiple. So we've changed the basket to an entirely new one, which is way more accommodating, gives you much more visibility of the few items that are likely to be in the basket, and doing a little bit of digging on the data in terms of the link clicks and who was engaging where on the email. We could see that a lot of people were clicking on the item image or the name of the item in the basket, and that gave us some indication that they actually do want to go back and review the things that they've been looking at. So it seemed to make sense to add in a view item button in there, so that they just had that direct call to action back to that item. The final thing we did was just to add some USPs in, and it felt like such an oversight from us looking back at the email from before, but it didn't have any USPs in anywhere near the footer. And MCQ has some really good ones. So as you mentioned before, they've got the easy exchange and returns USP, and they've also got the secure payments USP, which is really good, especially for a high fashion client, like I say, a high value purchase, just to give the customer that reassurance that wherever they go from here and when they go to purchase, it will be entirely secure, and they're safe to make that high value purchase. So yeah, really effective optimization. Client was really happy. We're really happy. I really like it. I draw out from what you were when you were describing it there about going back and looking at the previous email and analysing where people are clicking, because you can really take from that some learnings. In this case, learning that they're clicking on the image, therefore that would suggest that they want to know more about the product. So changing the call to action to view item makes so much sense. So I'd encourage anyone that's looking at taking some of these ideas away to look back at previous email and see where people are clicking. Great. So another case study we wanted to cover off is from mobiles.co.uk. So mobiles incorporate quite a lot of what we've discussed today, and they're really coming from a situation of a journey of what you do within your mobile tariff and your mobile subscription. So
they actually have these 2 upgrade journeys. And these are sequential emails that they send out to encourage you to upgrade. So the first one is based on your propensity to buy. And they actually take live content from the site that is relevant to what you would be interested in terms of your previous purchase. So depending on what network provider you had before and what phone you had before. So there's some personalized elements that we've discussed that will really drive conversion. But then they also include other content in there that's relevant to that as well. So they include blog content or review content, as you can see. So that's a kind of propensity version, and then they also do a similar version on this that's the intent version. That's based on what previous email a customer has engaged with, and that's going to actually re-trigger and retarget an email with more information about that. So if you've previously engaged with iPhone content on a previous email, you'll receive iPhone information, and if you've previously engaged with Android on email, you'll receive Android content as well. This is a really good example of how to use personalization accompanied with blog content that accompanies the products in a automated triggered program email that we discussed at the beginning. There are lots of those to really drive conversion from their email.
Yeah, I have to say with the mobiles example with the live offers in the email, that's solves such a problem, particularly in this industry whereby you receive an email with a mobile offer in, you click to go to the website and the offer's expired, or the offer's changed, or the value's different. And it would be a really interesting test to run to see how many people actually drop out at that point after receiving an expired offer. So the fact that in this case they're actually receiving that live amount, there's nothing that could go wrong in the meantime, and they will land on a page that is that exact offer, has to be really impactful and has to ultimately end in more conversions.
Exactly. And they saw a significant increase when they moved to this kind of campaign in terms of their results. So it really, really important. The other factor as well that's really important is that this is an automated program. So this isn't something that they press send on every single week. It's automated. So making sure that the offers, the deals, and the pricing is live is even more important when it's an automated email. Right?
Yeah, and definitely with it being such an important purchase, and in most cases a high value purchase, so many people, I'm definitely one of those, will want to look at this when they get home from work or when they have a lot more time to actually give to it. So to be able to reopen that email.
Great stuff. All right. Thank you very much, everybody.